Hi, this is Tom from 2 Cave Aquatics, Tom and Andy from 2 Cave Aquatics, and I'm going to make a video about what fish keeping has brought into my life, our life, and a lot of benefits, and with my mental health. I mean, I think maybe with maybe anybody's mental health. And when your mental health is in good shape, you have a tendency to have a better marriage and relationships.
Yeah, baby.
And if you're grumpy all day or being annoying or but I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder some years ago, and I don't know. Anyway, I've had some periods of time in my life, the last couple decades, where I would kind of start being inside my head, lost with my own thoughts for long periods of time, and that's not always a good place for me to be. And I can get where, rapid speech, and I stop eating completely, and next thing you know, pop goes the weasel. A little bit more involved with that, but I ended up on a few psych wards, hospitals. Well, actually, quite a few, several times. But that's years ago. On the last 3.5, 4 years. I think those days are behind me. It's called mania. I've been manic, I guess, at times. And yeah, extremely manic. Extremely manic. I'll just put it that way. And anyway, this doesn't allow for that, for me to be lost in my own thoughts. It's this constant distraction, not only from that, but from this, the television. This can be a source of it. Let me tell you why. If I see too much news or certain other subjects on there, it was like, what, 5, 6 years ago?
Yeah, 2020.
2020?
2020 into 2021.
I can say what was on the TV, but I mean, you could just turn your TV on. It was not news. But I was listening to it, I got so pissed. I mean, really, really pissed. And I took my size 15 boot and chucked it across the living room and threw the TV. And, well, that's not, then you gotta buy a new TV, and those things aren't cheap. But I promised Annie that was never gonna happen again. So what I did, I just put my boot through the TV. I was just kinda sick of what I was hearing. But anyway, I don't care what's on that television, the news, a movie I want to watch, pretty much anything. My attention is always taken away from it by this constant movement and all these colors and the interaction between the fish. And the next thing you know, the television, the news, or whatever is just background noise, kind of like in those Charlie Brown movies, the teacher. You can't even really make it out anymore. I lose touch of what they're even saying. It doesn't even register in my brain. I'll have to stop and rewind movies so I can even figure out what the hell's going on, because I'm just so distracted constantly by these fish, and that's a good thing. Plus, it's bringing nature into the home, and that always has a calming effect. And it shows me that my cognitive ability and my mental, what would I call it, acuity? Acuity, yeah.
That stuff.
Annie's a smart one. But anyway, I'm no dummy either. But you know what? This kind of proves I'm no dummy. But I'm kind of smart, and I can figure things out and use my brain and come up with a plan and a concept, and the kind of fish I want to keep, and you just kind of do whatever it takes in my own mind to make that happen. And a lot of it's research. And that keeps me focused. It's something I like to do. This is a hobby that I've always been fascinated with, and fish. I'm a Pisces. I don't know if that's got anything to do with it, but I'm not gonna read a horoscope. But may I act like one? Do anything about that?
Oh, you're a total Pisces, man.
Okay, I believe you.
But you also love taking care of little critters. So
Okay, well, whatever a Pisces is, I'm a total
that's
one.
part of it.
And he
yeah.
guarantees I'm an absolute total one. I'm also a piece of work. An absolute piece of work. Anybody that knows me knows that. I mean, I've introduced myself. Hi, I'm Tom, and I'm an absolute piece of work. And that's our book tree. But anyway, it keeps me focused. It keeps me concentrated. It gives me something to do with my hands. I'm also an artist. It gives me the ability and the time and something to create. Kind of like get it in my mind first, envision it, the outcome I want, the end result I want, before I just bring a tank home and start throwing a bunch of stuff in it and going online and on Facebook groups and, hey, what kind of filter should I use or whatever. You don't want to go down that road, that rabbit hole. But and having all these different fish, so many fish. There's a lot of fish in that 75-gallon tank. I'll rattle them off here in a little bit. From all different parts of the globe. Some from China, some from Australia, some from South America, some from all different areas, all different parts of the globe. Different species. And they all get along quite nicely, calmly, together in harmony and balance. And the tank's in balance, and beginning with the substrate to my filtration. I have a certain way I do my filtration. I used to own a fish store back in the mid-80s, and I knew a lot about filtration then. I built a big sump for my 220-gallon saltwater display tank. I had a lot of big anemones and just tons of live rock, and it's like 6 foot long. Big tall tank. It's the biggest tank I ever had. It was a saltwater tank. I built it myself. And I built the filtration on that tank. I drilled holes with diamond dust and special drill in the back of it, 1-inch holes with PVC, and made a spray bar in the bottom, down into a 30-gallon aquarium with 3 shelves, glass shelves above it that I built. And crushed coral, different grades of crushed coral to grow beneficial bacteria, aerobic and anaerobic bacteria. That's some that live in the air and only under water. And yeah, I made that. I set that aquarium up, and but I never had an aquarium at home. I've lived in too many states, and I'm kind of nomadic. And Shoshone is Scottish, and I move around a lot. I've been in a lot of places, and
You gotta be settled to keep.
yeah, you got to be settled in to do this stuff, because otherwise, it's not. I know how to do this very inexpensively, but at any rate, what happens? You have to move somewhere, and you get all these big aquariums, these fish, and what are you gonna do? And they end up on Facebook Marketplace, like this one here, this 60-gallon tank, and that stand cost $650 at PetSmart, just like that. And I got it for $50 on Facebook Marketplace. That's a deal. But Annie's a writer. She's a freelance journalist and a writer. And we're both at home, so we both work from home. And we're together a lot, mostly 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days for a year, for over 17 years now. And she needs to have quiet and the ability to concentrate and focus on her stories, whether it's helping somebody write a book about their life or whatever, or she's got clients that she works for, and magazines and newspapers, and
Mostly arts and entertainment.
Arts and
business.
entertainment. She's been doing that for over 20 years, and that's her love, her passion. And I would never ever consider saying, Annie, why don't you go get a real job or something. I mean, that's, yeah,
Not
we
that
wouldn't
they
be together if
have.
we were like that, but it was kind of an adjustment to get used to being in a relationship and married to a writer, but yeah, Annie's a writer and she needs me to keep my big mouth shut a lot. And I can't.
Writers are feral. Everybody knows it.
Yeah, but anyway, I can't have like a movie on loud, watching a bunch of YouTube videos and music. I like heavy metal.
Yes, you can.
Well, yeah, I can play music. That's because you like the stuff I listen to that you never listened to before, like Black Label Society and Metallica and all that,
My life is so much better.
Yeah.
With Black Label Society.
Yeah, well, there's that. And but anyway, I can deal with my fish. I love this angelfish. I hand feed them. I always hand feed that angelfish. I'll show you the fish closer. But yeah, this is a huge blessing in my life, in our marriage, in our relationship. My mental health is in balance and great. I almost rarely ever take meds. I'm supposed to, I guess, I'm not like court ordered or anything like that, but I'm supposed to take some lithium, just 300 milligrams a day. And I rarely ever take that, maybe a few times a year at the most, right?
Yeah, well, if you feel like
Okay, I mean, if I feel a little wonky,
studying,
if I feel a little wonky or whatever, but I can feel that, I know something. I'll just reach over and take one, maybe for a few days, but no, I mean hardly ever.
a lot of bipolar people have like
Tons of
4
meds.
prescriptions.
Tons
at a
of
time.
meds.
Yeah, and it's
And when
terrible.
they put me into psych wards for when I was manic, like Kentucky State Mental Hospital. Oh my God, what a place that is! They should take a wrecking ball to it.
Can
But
I put 2 cents in here?
sure,
I'll tell you, when I was a teenager or a young woman, if anybody had told me that I could stand being around anyone 24/7, I would not have believed it. And
much less me.
anyone.
This is my boy. I feed him by hand. Here he comes. He thinks I'm gonna feed him. A little later, he's getting so pretty. He's gonna get a lot bigger. But I hand feed him. Obviously, I hand feed him, and he'll eat nearly a whole cube, right, half a cube of Tubiflex worms. It fell from between my fingers. He thinks that my hand's coming in, but that hand feeding a beautiful, beautiful fish like this. I mean, look at this angelfish. He's gorgeous. They're my African butterfly fish. I mean, where do you get stuff like that? Come on. Who's got African butterfly fish in their living room? I do. They're a predatory fish. They are waiting for crickets to fall on. And these are my roseline barbs. Denison barbs. They are very endangered and threatened in their native habitats. And these are, I guess, bred down somewhere here. Not in a home aquarium. You can't breed these fish in a home aquarium. But they've just kind of come into some way to breed them. But a lot of this banned imports on them. And these are some rainbow fish. I have different species of rainbow fish. The orange and blue one is Bosemani rainbow fish. I have a pair of them in there. There's the other one back there. This one and the male here. And McCulloch rainbow. That's that one right there. That's a dwarf rainbow. Millennium rainbows is these. They're pretty, beautiful fish. I have a pair of them. And they interact with each other a lot differently than the other rainbows. And these are turquoise rainbow fish. I have a pair of them. They're littler. There's another one. And these Bosemani will get up to like 5 inches, so they got a lot of growing to do. The rainbow fish, not all of them, but in these Denison barbs, roseline sharks, those tags on their tail, the yellow, they're so beautiful, and they'll get 5 inches long. My African rainbow fish, butterfly fish, sorry, they're about 4 inches long. And the angelfish, of course, is gonna be a lot bigger. I've got pictus catfish in here, the silver ones. I got some spotted ones and striped ones. And my spotted talking catfish, Rasputin, is back here behind this cave that I built for him. I got him when he was tiny. And there's a Siamese algae eater. It's the same body, shark body style, exactly as these roseline sharks. Same kind of behavior, but it's an algae eater. But it hangs out with the sharks, swims back and around and forth with them, and yeah, it's an algae eater. A really good algae eater too. Really, really good. One of the best, I think. Not a flying fox or anything else. Not a Chinese algae eater. I have one of those too, but I think they're one of the best Siamese algae eaters. And I have some auto sequence catfish in here. They're really tiny little catfish. I probably have them all in all my aquariums. They're excellent algae eaters too. Somebody's probably thinking this guy's stoned. He's high. He's gonna get a copyright block. No, this is copyright royalty-free, copyright-free music off of YouTube, and they have it available for people to use in videos. And the 75-gallon tank. I have a lot of different species in here, starting with the silver hatchetfish on the top, dwarf marbled hatchetfish there. I'm getting nice special orders on the Petco. They're gonna bring me about at least 6 more. Longfin zebra danios, that would be these. And Chinese white cloud mountain minnows, these peach colored ones. They come from the White Cloud Mountain area in China. Neon tetras, most people have heard of those. A lot of people keep those. And Harlequin rasboras. I love Harlequin rasboras. They're a really beautiful fish, unique shape and marking. Got a few of those in here. Some glow light tetras. That would be these. Got a few of those in there. I have an emerald rasbora, and it's kind of rare. I don't know. It's a lot of people don't keep this. It's a really, really tiny fish. It's one of the tiniest rasboras. It's in here somewhere. He comes out once in a while, but he's hiding in here somewhere. I don't know. But albino corridor catfish. They keep my substrate clean. And there's panda corridoras. They're about half the size. Got 2 of those. And I've also got some bronze corridors. So I got quite a few species of fish in here from different parts of the globe. And golden mystery snail, and some rabbit snails, and some, where are they at? Black devil spike snails. That's this one. I got a bunch of those. There's some back there. Rabbit snails, black devil spike snails, and a single golden mystery snail. I have a golden mystery snail in my 60-gallon tank right there. Just a single one. And none in my 20-gallon tank that has my Chinese golden algae eater. She's in there. She's about 7 inches long. Now, she's Chinese golden algae eater, and when they're little, when you first get them, they eat algae, but when they get bigger, they need a lot of protein in their diet. And I knew that, so she gets protein when they feed her. There's a gourami in here, a whiptail catfish. It's over here. You can see part of his tail right there. And some autocetus catfish. But this keeps my mind busy. And when I'm a busy boy, I have a happy wife. When my mind is occupied and busy, especially during the winter months. We live in Hudson Valley, New York, and it's like, what? It's wicked cold outside.
Yeah.
Snowed.
It's single digits.
Yeah, single digits and
20s for weeks.
Blah.
Yeah. Blah.
And snow and freezing rain, and so we're indoors a lot. I'm very active outdoors all year. I do a lot of gardening and different things, so
we both love being outdoors.
So I'm anxious for that. Putting in a greenhouse and other things. So that's a benefit, like a side benefit maybe.
I've done some thinking on this, and I have a theory. Okay, I'm a hot mess in my own right in some ways, and I deserve nothing less than a piece of work.
See that Frankenstein there?
And
I painted that. I'm still working on it. I love Frankenstein. The rest of this art is from James. He was an artist and he's a long childhood friend since he was just really, really young. And he's an artist and a sculptor. And he did a lot of this art, most all of it. And I can explain some of this later, but he unfortunately, he was a wonderful man and he passed, and left the home and the property to us, and so in his memory and honor and everything, the aquariums, the colors, the fish, and everything, it kind of goes with. I painted this room, but it kind of goes with the decor. And it brings a lot of life and happiness and joy and stuff in our lives and my life.
Can I tell my theory, please?
Okay, I'll watch my fish.
Yeah, watch your fish and let me talk for a minute, honey bud. I have learned so much about myself from living with what's called bipolar, but I really think what it is and what it comes from is trauma, okay? This man led a heck of a life in his early years, and then he stuffed all that inside and went out and worked and made kids, beautiful men they are now, and did a lot of different things. He's had his own business, he's built buildings, he's everywhere we've ever lived, he's had a fabulous garden. He is unstoppable energetically.
But I'm also an ex-convict.
Yeah.
I spent 10 years in Florida State Penitentiary from the time I was 17 till I was 27, so there's that. And the last 2 years in solitary confinement, facing an electric chair for capital murder that I did not commit. And I had a 9-woman jury and a couple of guys that sent me home half an hour after that trial. But that's
the way trauma gets you though is it makes it hard to regulate your emotions. You get dysregulated and your emotions
discombobulated. And we have 2 adopted cats.
Sometimes run you instead of you running them, which is obviously preferable.
They're brothers.
Odious and ominous.
Odious. This is this one here. He loves a fish, but he just likes to sit and watch them. There's a little corridor catfish and autocinklus, and he just loves to watch them. That's all he does. And ominous His brother, Omnis, could care less. He doesn't give those fish, he doesn't care. He doesn't even look at them.
But the one thing that we seem to be figuring out about how to get emotionally regulated, how to get a grip on yourself more or less, is creativity is the only thing that really works. You could play music, you could write, you could paint, you can do any number of things, and if you let it, I'm not saying there aren't crazy artists, obviously there are, but if you let it, it can help you connect to yourself in ways that connects you to other people and to the world and makes you happier. And who cares if you're crazy if you're happy? It's anger.
I've been mad for years, absolute years.
And
They're all mad, absolutely mad.
and when you're fish keeping and aquascaping, you're making worlds. You're creating entire little self-contained worlds full of these creatures that swim around, just live their lives, and they look like little jewels, little gems, flowing around in the water. And I love to watch them. If I get stuck for words when I'm writing, I just look up from the screen and I check out the fish for a few minutes, and it just soothes my eyes and my mind, no end. So my gratitude to Tom for bringing these fish into my world. I would never have known how to do this. I wouldn't have begun to know how to do this. But here we are, we have little worlds in our living room that we can just go into mentally when we need it. And I'll tell you one other thing. There's only been one time in the past, 2 years, 3 years now?
3.5?
3.5, that I've been even remotely worried about Tom's mental well-being, and that was after we were on some big highways and somebody cut me off bad, and it was like that bumper-to-bumper 60 miles an hour kind of thing.
When we ended up by Albany?
Yeah, up by
Yeah.
Albany, and it was terrifying. And we were both really shook. But I shrugged it off by the time we got out of the car. I had to. I was driving.
Because I needed a whiptail catfish, and that's the only fish in this house that's not from Petco.
And that's the
There's a
only
whiptail
reason we were
catfish
in
from that
Albany.
store, which we'll never go back to.
Anyway, so after like a day or two, and he's still snappish and anxious, I was like, hon, you know, you're like seriously snappish and anxious, and you're dialed up to around 11, and that's normally not a good thing for you or me or our marriage. And he said, I can be snappish and anxious if I fucking well want to be snappish and anxious.
Well.
and yes, you know, that is true.
In my voice. I don't talk like that.
Nobody can tell another person how to feel about anything. That just ain't happening. But I was able to say, I don't know what...
I mean, I don't get physical with you or anything like that. I don't call you
No.
names or yell, scream at you. I don't yell, scream, or any of that shit.
No.
I don't drink. I don't drink.
He's...
I never really did, but I don't drink alcohol at all, which is probably a good thing, not only just for me and her, but for the entire world and universe. Trust me, I would make a miserable, horrible alcoholic.
No, I realized
But
within a few
this is a
minutes
legal
of,
state, and yeah,
of meeting my
Cannabis,
ex-convict
that's
love,
it.
I realized that he had impeccable manners and a really solid moral core. So I've never really worried about, you
I
know.
have a moral core.
You have a moral core, baby.
I'll
But
have to Google search what that is.
I
later.
was able to.
I don't know.
I was able to say to him on that occasion when he was upset for a couple of days about almost getting killed, which is not the least understandable reason. I said, you know, yes, you have the right to feel that way, but you have hundreds of little lives depending on you being at your best, sweetheart.
My A game.
And he was like, oh. You know?
Shit, it's time to do a water change.
She's got a point there.
Yeah, oh yeah, shit, I need to do a water change.
He you know, swigged one lithium in a glass of water and got
Did a
on
bunch
top
of water
of the
changes
tank.
and
Got his hands in the water, and it was done. We were done with it. We moved along, and
Okay.
I can't tell you how grateful I am
then 3.5, almost 4 years.
for
So
this
but-
hobby and his health and the wonderful life that we got going on here. Really, babe, it rocks. And that's all I'll
Well,
get.
thank you, ma'am.
That's
I
my
aim to
story,
please.
and I'm sticking to it. Thanks, y'all.
But yeah, it's one of those side benefits that a lot of people don't think about when it comes to fish keeping, and I just
Plus, it really does remind me that you're super smart.
oh gosh. Well, I did read 5 entire penitentiary prisons, well, every single book they had on every subject under the sun. I studied psychology, sociology, human relations,
Me too, me too.
medicine, and I mean just everything under the sun. When I was in prison, I read every book from War and Peace to The Art of War and everything in between. I saved the romance novels for last, the Danielle Steele stuff, and cowboy books, westerns. But actually, I got into those, Louis L'Amour, and the romance novels actually weren't too bad. They were thick. But yeah, I read every book in law books and everything in like 5 entire prisons. I got kicked out of a bunch of them. That's a whole nother story. Yes, you can actually get kicked out of prison. You just get into a worse one, but well, that's what I wanted to touch on tonight, and I hope everybody has a great evening. And don't forget to like and subscribe. And I will make another video very soon from Tom and
Oh.
Annie.
Could I add one thing, darling?
What?
You.
What?
Just that the fish keeping community has made you some wonderful friends.
Oh yeah, like Stefan from Lush and Salty Aquariums and other people. Yes, I've met some amazing people. Father Fish, I learned a lot from him, and I actually use his substrate additive, and that I mixed that in the bottom of with the dirt before I started when I planted the aquarium. So shout out to Father Fish. All right, good night, everybody.